What is up, everybody? This is the Juice Crew Podcast, back at it again for episode number 3.
Yes, sir.
You know it.
It's your boy D-Lo here alongside Ty, a.k.a. Fly, and my boy Landon down there at the end, a.k.a. LG, and we are the Juice Crew. Now, let's get into some of these topics for this week. Week 1 in the books.
Hold on, D-Lo. Can't forget the cheers, bro.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Bro, can't. You know, we got.
Look. I'm too excited. We're gonna talk some football, baby.
Football is
I'm
here.
excited.
Football is here.
Football is here. We were itching for this week 1 to start, but you're right, Ty. Let's do it. Here, take it away. We're gonna toast it up to the cheer. Let's start it off.
I already know the deal. Grab a cup and enjoy.
But like I was saying before, week 1 is in the books, guys. We have a lot in store for you guys to cap off a wild week 1 of football. We're going to talk about a little bit of some of those disappointments from week 1. Who wet the bed? Who really went up in there and wet the bed week 1? Like, honestly, who came out and just stunk up the joint? Like, we didn't know they were going to stink up the joint, for that matter. You know, we're going to have a call me crazy moment, some of our overreactions to week 1 as well. I'm putting a little stock in somewhere that many people probably aren't, but we'll get into that later on. Also, we have some special announcements toward the end of this episode. So we have something really cool for you guys. Oh,
They're
you
not
guys are
ready.
excited for this one. You guys should stay
Stay
tuned
till
for
the
this. For sure. Now, that's going to be real exciting. So we have a cool announcement for you guys at the end. But, I mean, to start it off, let's get into some of this fantasy talk. I know there's a lot of fantasy owners out here. A lot of our viewers are fantasy owners.
Yes, sir.
So I think I just want y'all to raise your hand if you're 1-0 in the fantasy league.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, we 3-0.
Let's go!
You know, the Juice Crew, you know we got to do 3-0. You know, now this podcast going to get interesting when we got to play each other. But for now, we 3-0. We'll live at 3-0.
Let's start off with some of the biggest fantasy names of week 1. Who are some of you guys' some of the guys that obviously helped your team win this week? And just, speak about some of the biggest fantasy players of the week that, in your guys' opinion.
I hate to have to go there because, and we're going to get into this later in the podcast, you guys all heard my predictions about my New York football Giants. Oh, boy, I have a lot to say about these goddamn Giants, man. But I will say, I got to give respect where respect is due. Man, I hate even saying the name. It sounds nasty. Like the Cowboys, we knew what Dak was before he got injured. But, I mean, man, that high-octane offense against a top 5, projected to win a Super Bowl, a defense returning everything. I just didn't expect the performance that great. But, I mean, I have to go with my guy since I own him, and I got him with the second pick. And CMC, he's back. He's back, and he's just you know how there's a handful of players every year in fantasy, and they're just a lock. CMC's going to be a lock, no touchdown, and we're putting up, 20-plus fantasy points. And it almost I blinked and he put that up. So I'm super excited for CMC. But again, I mean, I guess I got to give props where props is due. The Cowgirls did their thing. We'll see what they do this week.
I got to be honest with you. CMC, honestly didn't pay much attention to CMC. I didn't think just because of that low-scoring game with the Jets, I really didn't pay too much attention to him. When I looked at your team and saw what he did, I'm like, yo, this guy still led his team in fantasy, and he didn't score a touchdown.
Nothing.
For you fantasy owners, you know how hard it is to lead a league in fantasy points without a touchdown? This man had, 9 catches for 98 yards and 98 on the ground? They don't burn him out too early in the season. That's a lot of reps.
Yeah,
a lot of reps.
One thing I will say is, and I know we all have these fantasies, is where you think about a really great player in the sport that's not necessarily on a team that's competing year in, year out. What if we saw CMC in, the deep playoff run? I crave those moments where those players just don't have the opportunity. Bradley Beal's another one when we start getting to our NBA talk, where super talented, just never been put in that situation to go win. But enough of that. We got to stick on this fantasy talk. Who are you excited about this week?
So you guys might not know, but this was actually my first year being a fantasy owner.
He definitely don't look like a rookie. I'll say that much.
And I actually went, just to build on your Cowgirl statement, I actually went with Dakota Prescott. My guy, QB1, lighting it up. He came back against a Super Bowl winning defense, returned all starters, put up 400. He had 3 touchdowns. He did turn the ball over once, so hopefully we fix that by week 2. But I'm confident with him leading my team, Dak will get it done. And also, a fantasy surprise, my son Jameis can see now.
Yes.
5 touchdowns.
I mean, that's no secret. I've
on
been
my bench, but 5 touchdowns.
It didn't matter. You had Dakota in there. I think Dakota did plenty for you. What he did 400 yards, bro. And that receiving core they had out there in Dallas, you both make good points. That's a tough, dynamic offense. And let's be honest, Zeke didn't even get the pill. They don't need it anymore.
He definitely didn't. But to the Jameis point, it just brings me back. It makes me reminisce a little bit. Jameis Winston, I didn't win the championship this year. I probably make an argument. He took my fantasy team to a fantasy championship. But Landon knows it because he wasn't playing fantasy. But we'd be watching the games every Sunday and we'd have our bets and everything. And I'd be telling him who's on my fantasy team. But I forgot who came in that season as my starting quarterback. But it ended up they weren't producing. So I had to go with Jameis. And every week, I swear to gosh, Jameis Winston would throw 2 or 3 picks. Yeah. Before anything got going. Before you could blink an eye, Jameis gave it away. And so I'm super proud of Jameis and just happy that I just know he's going to be great for the Saints offense and just in that year under Drew Brees. And we'll get into all that. But I'm a big...
Look in the dictionary at 30 for 30, you'll see a picture of him.
Stories, 30 filmmakers, 30 years. ESPN's critically acclaimed 30 for 30. Presented by Levi's. Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Just had to throw that in
films, 30 for 30. 30 tugs, 30 interceptions.
33 tugs.
I need to make a documentary about that too. The day he retires, it's called 30 for 30 with Jameis Winston. That's it. Period. 30 for 30.
Yeah, and people won't even talk about the days of him in college when he's stealing some crab legs. Jameis wanted some crab legs.
Yo, this man walking out of the store with crab legs, bro. What are you doing? Oh my God, I was so mad at him at the time. But I'm a big Oregon fan. My boy, it was Mariota Winston. I'm like, y'all gotta take Mariota. Come on, y'all. What y'all doing?
Yep.
I may need to get some rock in that link too. I know y'all saw that one carry for 31 yards yesterday.
Shoot, man. I mean, when Derek Carr had the day he had, but D-Lo, who did it for you in fantasy? I know there's some players that really just produce for your fantasy or overall surprise you. Who's the person, that guy for you this week? I
mean, my top shot, obviously, for y'all don't know, I got K1. I was able to scoop up K1 late in a little bit of a back-end round, low-key. I was high on K1 coming into this fantasy season, and he lit it up. He lit them Tennessee Titans up for 4 touchdowns, over 250 yards passing. The man is the truth. He's electric. You can't tackle him. Oh, my God. He almost reminds me a little bit of Mike Vick back in his Falcon days, honestly, but with a little twist to it. And for an NBA comparison, I kind of compare him to a Trae Young.
Yeah.
They kind of got that natural swagger to him. They're not afraid to really try anything and anywhere at any time. So K1 was a big one. Shout out to my boy Devontae Smith, though. Ooh. Y'all know I was going to go there. Ooh. Oh, my God. The man went off. Bro. Oh, my God, bro. When he caught, I wish he had a camera on my reaction when he scored that touchdown. I was shaking, y'all. Bro, I was shaking when this man Devontae Smith caught that touchdown. I was so freaking hyped. I'm excited for Devontae Smith. And I almost didn't even have him in my lineup.
Yeah.
I had him on my bench.
The Jamar Chase. And that was, and he looked great coming off of all the rumors from preseason he can't catch. But back to your point of Devonta Smith, I think there was so many question marks. Just does he have an NFL body? Is he too skinny? Is he gonna get? But I mean, he went out there and he just looked like he fit in. So I definitely got to give him a bunch of props for that. Even as a Giants fan, I had a rough weekend, but I guess it was good to see him produce. I'm a big fan of the rookies, and it looks like he's gonna have a great year.
Now, Devontae Smith, I think he's going to have a pretty big breakout year. I think he's going over for about 1,000. I think he'll get over the 1,000 mark this year. He's number 1 in Philadelphia. Let's be honest. They're going to be looking for him. He's number 1. He led them in receiving yards in his first game. He led them in touchdowns. Obviously, he was scoring 1. My boy Jalen Hurts was able to throw 3 touchdowns. I low-key wanted to get him as a backup option, but he was going a little too high to get him as a backup. But, I mean, some of the other sleeper surprises, Tyreek Hill went for almost 200 yards in the first game. He's dude, this guy is amazing, bro. He's running down the field wide open. Travis Kelce also catches 2 touchdowns.
Coop went crazy. Usually he doesn't go crazy on the road. He actually went crazy against Tampa Bay.
Coop did his
thing.
CD. The craziest thing is
CD as well.
I had to play against CD and Coop, but that was Coop was a separate league. But I had to play against both of them. So like Thursday night, not only am I a Cowboy absolute hater, and like you guys will hear a lot of that come through in future episodes, but to just have to play against both those receivers and see that production, it was hard, but that big surprise. Like Tyreek Hill though, and we had this conversation off air, but like I remember originally we were talking like what are gonna be our top 5 fantasy receivers, and it's just like it's like there's so many talented receivers, and sometimes like he goes under the radar. He definitely was top 5 for us, I think all of us, or even if he wasn't, he was like right outside that top 5 mark. And I think if you have a Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball, you got to be in top 5 just off the strength of that. This man literally said that, like, he confirmed the statement that I know Tyreek is down there somewhere and he could get it down there somewhere if he has to do that. And so I think that Tyreek Hill's going to have another huge year. Like, you just put up when you have Mahomes.
When you're the fastest man in the league and you have a quarterback who could throw 80 yards off his knees, and that one clip they had with Gruden as Patty Mahomes threw like 80 yards off his knees. What do you do with that? I was telling Ty and D'Lo, imagine being a defensive back. Tyreek Hill can line up right in front of you and say, "Hey, I'm going straight." What do? You can't run with it. You can't teach that.
Be like, I got hope over the top. Hopefully they'll keep up with you.
Until he can't catch him either.
And what's crazy is, bro, the Chiefs have 2 of the top right now 4 fantasy players in all of football. I know it's early. I know it's only week 1. But Patrick Mahomes is number 2. Tyreek Hill is number 4. Travis Kelce is the second-rated tight end right now. Behind Rob Gronkowski of all people. I don't know how that happened.
2 touchdowns. Touchdowns go a long way at the tight end position for sure.
Yeah.
Quick little sidebar. What do you guys think in practice? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't. It's obviously not fully competitive, but what does a Honey Badger versus like a Tyreek and a Kelce look like in practice? Or like, do you think Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu? I'm referring to, for those who don't know. Like, I wonder if he gets the better of them. From like, there's got to be some reps where he just probably I'm letting you know I'm here.
Yeah, taking this from just our athletic background, 100%. Like Tyrann Mathieu, like they've gotten each other. Like you practice against each other too often, and you're just too great at what you do to not get each other. Probably 50-50, honestly, in practice-wise. You're seeing each other every day, but it's a different element when you're playing the game against somebody completely different now. Yep. That game planning gets a little different. I mean, the tensions are, you're playing together now. You're playing together as one unit. So I definitely attest to that, though. It definitely, I feel like in practice, it's definitely, split more down the middle, 50-50.
And just to build on his point, D'Lo made a great point. Just iron sharpens iron. Just speaking on our many Rutgers practices, we came in, going at each other, trying to get each other better, taking each other's heads off, talking junk, fouling hard. So I can only imagine when it's football and these players are getting paid millions of dollars and they're at the top of their position, they know who the alpha dogs are when they walk into practice. Matthew knows Kelce, he's going to get the ball. Yep. So if he wants to stop that Chiefs offense in practice, you got to
guess what? If you're getting the better of them a couple of times, I'm guaranteeing he's having a much easier time out there on that field playing against some of these other receivers. But I mean, fantasy was a crazy week 1. It's super exciting to have football back. I hope you hear this excitement in our voice. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if anybody has the NFL Red Zone channel. If you're into football and don't have NFL Red Zone,
what are you doing?
You better get it. You better
Red Zone is amazing, guys. Yo. Red Zone is really amazing, bro. The ability to go back and forth from games like that too, it really lets you dive into each part of the game. Like, I don't think there's any other really coverage like it.
Yeah, no, it's a great broadcast.
Yep.
But we're all happy to be 1-0. We hope you all were 1-0. Hey, if you're 0-1 and you need some advice, I think you got 3 capable managers. Reach out, leave a comment. We want to hear all your fantasy talk. We got to keep this NFL talk going. I think week 1 is a lot to react to. What are we about to get into?
We're actually going to go back to week 1 and give you guys a little bit of some of our disappointments from week 1. Who didn't show up?
Who got exposed?
Because I tell you, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You want to talk about a team going down there getting exposed? Let me tell you, Jameis Winston surprised me. I did not think the Saints were going to go out there and absolutely roll the Green Bay Packers like they did. Jameis Winston threw for 5 touchdowns. We had Aaron Rodgers throwing 2 picks, almost half the picks he threw from last season alone. He looked completely disengaged in the whole game, honestly. He looked real lackadaisical. I didn't think the team looked really prepared. Guys, I have a side note for you guys. I think Aaron Rodgers is selling this season.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I really think he's trying to give everybody a middle finger right out the door at a Green Bay. The way he looked like that. We know he wants out. We know he wants out. But the way he played last week, tell me that wasn't one of Aaron Rodgers' worst games he's ever played in his career.
It's easily one of his worst games, but I don't want to jump the gun. I just think that a professional athlete, you know, when they sign on board to play a sport like football, I get it, like how you could sell the bag in other sports, but like when you gotta put your body at risk, play in, play out, it's hard to really definitely there was Aaron Rodgers' worst game ever. I don't know if I'm as quick to say that he's selling this season off of that performance. Just because, like, you really could get yourself hurt playing football, like, and not going out there giving it all. And he just, like, you also, you know, as much of a gripe you might have with the front office, with Brian Gutekunst and all these other people that you had over the offseason, when you go in that locker room and you got to look another grown man in his face that's on a team that's trying to get to that one goal, which is win the Super Bowl, like, it becomes harder to do that. And so I think that, yes, it's hard to argue that wasn't a surprising performance, that wasn't a surprising domination by the New Orleans Saints, but I wouldn't say it's the biggest. In fact, if I'm going to go with a big surprise, I got to stay right in my division of the NFC East. Like, the Eagles coming out, giving the Falcons all of it and more, 32-6. It's like, the Falcons are not a team that we're looking at as Super Bowl contenders, not a team that we're really looking to be competitive. But if there's one thing that we always thought the Falcons would be able to do is to come out and produce some type of offense. Like, that's why they've kept Matt Ryan around for so long. Because, like, it seems like on paper that he's not the problem. Yes, he makes his mistakes. He turns the ball over here and there and has his bad decisions. But year in, year out, you could pretty much rely on Matt Ryan to just be a quarterback that's going to put up big numbers. And yes, they lose Julio Jones, but man, I was so shocked to just see that Eagles defense come out and just dominate Matt Ryan, dominate the game. And then flip side, you know, you have on the other side of the ball, Jalen Hurts, a lot of questions coming into year 2. What is he going to be? Definitely not, probably doesn't have the best weapons around him. Devonta Smith is looking like he's going to be amazing already. But, you know, there's question marks there. There's question marks on the offensive line that really were kind of unwarranted, I think, a little bit, just because Carson Wentz wasn't getting rid of the football last year. And then also you got to take into account a new head coach. So there was just question marks all around this team. I think, like, in week 1, and as a Giants fan, it hurts. It hurts because, like, I have to be realistic. And we look like the worst team in the division.
Here with Patrick, Deeks inside, which just holds the defense.
We look like the worst team in the division after week 1, and like we have 2 days to turn it around. Because
against
it's
tough defense.
Another one.
Daniel Jones.
Another one. So I would say that yes, the Packers surprising performance, no doubt, but like man, I did not was not hoping the Eagles would come out and look like this. I wouldn't.
Well, I'm gonna one-up you. I was pleasantly surprised. Thank God it happened to the Titans.
Yeah.
But Jesus,
K1
wow. Coming down at K1 in that defense too. They deserve to get a shout out.
Chandler Jones.
3 sacks in the first half, causing fumbles, absolutely dominating their offensive line. Derrick Henry really couldn't get anything going. Receivers really couldn't get anything going. I almost said Matt Stafford. Sorry about that. Ryan Tannehill under constant pressure, but Kyler Murray. Can we just talk about just what this modern quarterback looks like now? With this dual threat running and passing, that's so dangerous and so essential.
Yeah, we could even talk a little bit about a year 3 step that he's about to take. Like we saw what Josh Allen did in year 3, and I think that Kyler Murray could do that and maybe more. I mean, and Josh Allen had a fantastic year last year, but he's just K1 just a different athlete. Like I mean, you brought up the Trae Young point. There's something about him different. It's like, you know, Lamar Jackson, Mike Vick, and like baby like Patty Mahomes, like all of like it's like he could do so much and beat you in so many different ways. It's definitely gonna be scary. But if I had to say something about like that matchup in particular, is that Tennessee's defense has been nothing to write home about. I mean, it's been one of the biggest gripes with the team and the reason why they can't be as successful as they want to be in the playoffs. And it's a shame because you think with a coach like Mike Vrabel, defensive background, been around Bill Belichick's of the world, that it would be better. But I mean, the reason it's definitely a surprising performance. The reason why I can't say I'm as surprised as the Eagles is because I feel like the Titans, if they're not running the football, leading with the run, having time of possession, getting into their play action, getting Ryan Tannehill some very easy one-on-one matchups or easy throws down the field, they're going to struggle. And their defense is going to struggle if they don't have that time of possession because they're going to get exposed. And so I think it's tough.
So I'm going to flip that back on you. I think my argument with the Eagles and the Falcons is just, with the Falcons,
it's the Falcons.
It's the Falcons. The secondary was giving up everything. Jalen Hurts, even though he's a phenomenal talent, was looking spectacular. It was looking real light against the Falcons defense. So I think the Cardinals is just a little bit more impressive just because the Titans, that was a playoff team, even though they lost to the Ravens. It's still a playoff team adding Julio Jones that got shut down in that game, which kind of threw me off guard because Patrick Peterson went to the Vikings, so they lost the DB there. They still got Buda Baker over there. And obviously more studs at defensive back to be going Julio and AJ. But
yeah,
it was just,
personally,
surprising.
Ty, I got to ask you, do you really think that game was a surprise? Because I wasn't surprised at all.
Well, you're a fan. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be surprised.
What are we looking at? We're looking at a Falcons team like El did have some great points there. You're looking at a Falcons team that lost Julio Jones. They lost their top rusher from last year in Todd Gurley. So they got an aging Matt Ryan. Hey, he was still there contributing. He's better than what they got in the backfield now, really.
I think between him and Mike Davis, that's a wash, but I'll let you finish.
That's a wash. That's a wash. Todd Gurley and Mike Davis a wash.
We haven't seen Todd Gurley be Todd Gurley since he left the Rams. Let's be honest. Like he didn't have he had a couple performances last year with the Falcons, but there's a reason why they paid him all that money and let him go. Like he did. And running backs, it's like their trajectory is so short compared to the rest of the positions. Like
no, I'm not saying you on that.
I don't think that there's I'm not saying that Mike Davis is a better talent. Maybe he is now than Todd Gurley. I'm just saying that it wasn't a team that heavily relied on the run to begin with. Like, if this team was obviously heavily reliant on the passing game, and yes, I get it.
And then you take away their best wide receiver. Now, they do have Calvin Ridley, who I'm still very high on. But again, you take that other number one away, it's going to become a lot tougher on them. Plus, we have pressure up front. We were able to get to the quarterback. We had 3 sacks. Shout out to Javon Hargrave, who had 2 of those, by the way. The Eagles' offense looked a lot more dynamic than I thought, honestly, though. I will say that. Jalen Hurts looked electric out there with that offense. And a couple of those weapons. Jalen Rager showed out. He finally took a big step up. I think we still should have Justin Jefferson and Devontae Smith. But that's an argument for another day. But Jalen Rager did take a big step. I did like the production we got out of Dallas Goedert. Even Zach Ertz came in, gave us a little bit of production. Miles Sanders was toting that pill, had over 70 yards rushing. Didn't score a touchdown, but we had Gainwell come in, score a touchdown. So I was very impressed by how our offense was able to move that, to put up 30-plus points in week 1 on that Falcons defense was very impressive.
But let me throw this at you. Of all the matchups or the surprises we've given everybody today, what team do you think came in with more questions? Was it the Eagles, the Cardinals, or the Packers? I just feel like, yeah, you had the Aaron Rodgers drama going on, but everybody's thinking at the end of the day, that's Aaron Rodgers. When he's coming ready to come play football, he's going to come play football. I look at it and I'm like, the Eagles probably had the most questions surrounding them, and for them to come out there and dominate, literally win a game by 26 points over a Falcons team that, yes, they're not great, but this is a team that plays in a very tough division. They compete in a heck of a lot of their games. God forbid, they scoff a lot of them. They definitely throw a lot of games that they should win year in, year out. But this is, I don't feel like the Falcons is a matchup you come in and snooze on. I feel like that they're a team that you come in and if you are snoozing, they might get you. And so it was thinking the comparisons to matchup, looking apples to apples. I don't really know. I think I had most questions about the Eagles compared to the other 2 teams.
But you have to look at the Titans just had a home playoff game last year, and they added Julio. And got limited at 13 points and lost by 25.
And that goes to my point. Like, the two teams who had the least question about them were Tennessee and Green Bay, which is exactly why this is our biggest surprise. Because Green Bay is coming in as a team who just lost in the NFC Championship game, and then now is getting waxed the next year. They didn't score a touchdown, Ty.
Yeah.
They didn't score a touchdown. And I mean, I understand New Orleans defense ain't nothing to snooze out, but they ain't, you know, they're not the top 5. I don't think they're a top 5
They were
defense
top
in the
5
NFL this year.
This year, I think they'll be a top 5 defense. Last year, I think they were right there on the borderline of being a top 5 defense.
Even if they are top 5, you're still holding Aaron Rodgers to
You're not supposed to hold Aaron Rodgers.
Devontae Adams, they're locking up. Aaron Jones, they're locking up. They locked up everybody. I don't think nobody did anything in Green Bay's offense.
It was an ugly performance all the way around. I can't get that. But to El's point on the Julio Jones, I think that you just need to find that chemistry. We saw that in a couple other of quarterback receiving pairings this week. You just need to find that chemistry, and it's not that Julio wasn't getting open. It's not that he didn't have opportunities. It just seems like there was something off between those two and their connection. But yeah, no, I mean, I think all of these were surprising performances. I think my biggest thing is that being in the division, and yeah, my emotions are getting into this a little bit because the Giants. Oh my gosh, I'm not over the Giants, but to just see the Eagles come out and look like that, I am being emotional. I'm being emotional a little bit because now, and it's not Eagles fans aren't the worst in the world. I have you and my brother that I have to hear from, but now I'm hearing from Cowboys fans, and they don't look half bad against the Super Bowl winners, and so it's really a tough position to be in, but I hear both of your points. I just think that I wasn't expecting. You told me the Eagles would win that game. I said, yeah, I just didn't expect them to dominate.
Tyler, let me ask you this too. I want to get your perspective on this, but going into the Cardinals-Titans game, I didn't see it as such a flip-flop, one-sided matchup like most people saw it. I saw it a little bit more evenly. I think people were sleeping low-key on the Cardinals. I was coming in talking about they had 4 playoff contenders in that division for one in the NFC West. People were considering the Cardinals as the worst team in the division. That's scary because they got that new bad man on the block, K1, Kyler Murray, and they have a defense. They have one of the best safeties in the back to help that pressure. They added J.J. Watt. Yep. Chandler Jones had 5 sacks. Chandler Jones had 5 sacks in week 1. 5 sacks.
I think there's a fumble in there too.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I want to ask you, is it really a surprise if the two teams are so, in my opinion, so close and so neck and neck? I guess that's the real reason I don't really consider the Cardinals trumping them to be as too much of a surprise.
I think that, yes, very solid point. Both, I think the Titans and the Cardinals both came into that matchup with expectations. And yeah, we expected a closer game. So I definitely hear that point. But thinking about, let's just say, in terms of New Orleans and Green Bay, and I think obviously this is a very contrarian view, but and you guys know, I've been a Jameis Winston believer. I got into a little bit of fantasy earlier in the show, but I didn't expect him, I expected that game to be closer than anybody anticipated, and I thought that the Saints, had a chance of winning it too, and it's just because, I believe in Sean Payton, I've always have, and I believe in Jameis Winston, and that defense isn't bad, so, and they were technically supposed to play a home game, but I think that one of the key, and this is not really a football point, but Jameis referenced it in his after-game interview. The New Orleans just looked like they were playing for their city out there. I mean, and that might have had something to do with. I mean, I think there was so much between surprises, disappointments. What do you guys want to overreact on? What is something from week 1 that you guys want to say this is your chance? We can get a little hot takey here.
So,
what is your overreaction now?
I'm just gonna go off on a limb. So last season, Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosted their own Super Bowl. First time in history.
Okay.
How crazy would it really be for it to be a back-to-back in SoFi Stadium with the Rams in the Super Bowl again? I know it's an overreaction. I know it might not be a crazy hot take, too, that the Rams are going to reach the Super Bowl, but just seeing Matt Stafford throw bombs, smiling. You got Aaron Donald, who's a beast.
Yeah.
Who's a beast. You have Jalen Ramsey, who's trying to make his case for best defensive back in the league. They have the weapons. They have a defense. They're in a very tough division, though. Best division of football, I believe, the NFC West with the Cardinals, Seahawks, Niners. But I think with that defense and Matt Stafford's ability to take the top off the defense with Cooper Kupp, Robin Woods, run game, I'm calling the Rams in the Super Bowl.
But that is my exact point where you ended up to why I think that it's going to be very tough for the Rams to get to the Super Bowl. Off the fact that the strength of that division, if you're winning a wild card game, if you're getting into a wild card game, you're now playing in a one-game elimination game, possibly on the road.
Yeah.
No, you will be on the road. Actually, if you're in the wild card game, you will be on the road. That's a tough game to overcome. Who knows where it could be at?
It'll be tough.
It's going to be a tough
gonna
road
be
to
tough.
the Super
And
Bowl.
imagine if they have to travel to an East Coast team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it won't be an easy road to the Super Bowl for them. That's for sure.
They have a veteran quarterback, people who've had Super Bowl experience, who've been there. If somebody can go on the road, I'll take AD, Matt Stafford, and their experience with McVay calling up the shots. I'll take it.
See, I don't see Matthew Stafford as that experience. To be honest, he has no playoff experience at all. I'm actually interested to see how he does in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But let's say he goes in the playoffs, he gets a little first playoff jitters, wets the bed. That could be over for them. It's not like they have a good receiving core. They have one of the better receiving cores as a unit in the NFL, but they don't have a dominant receiver. Like they're not one. They're more like two great number twos. I feel like I think Cooper and Robert Woods are two number twos that are more than a two, but less than a one. If that makes sense.
To your, I think that I don't know if they're both less than. I mean, yes, less than a one in the sense of like being that traditional number one that plays on the outside. But I think that both of them arguably are like if you put any of them in any of those slot positions, they're easily the
plays they draw
best.
off the bootlegger with the run game scheme. I think just the whole scheme makes them. I don't want to say make them better than what they are because they're very talented receivers, but for lack of a phrase, it makes them better than what they are. Just the concepts they run, the routes they run, I think it's really to their strengths.
Yep.
That what Sean McVay is drawing up for them.
I don't think it's a bad overreaction by any stretch of the imagination. One thing I will say is how I feel about these tough divisions and them having to play two sides. And we saw this kind of happen with New Orleans and Tampa Bay that if you beat a team in your division twice, to go and beat them a third time if you have to see them in the playoffs becomes so difficult.
Tough.
Like, it's so hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. And so I think that would be my one gripe. But I think my big overreaction of this week is, and it's probably, it's off the Monday night game, between the Ravens and the Raiders. Like, I don't think the Ravens make the playoffs this year. I don't think, and it hurts for me to say because I love Lamar Jackson. I can't wait for him to get his money, get his contract and everything. But man, do they need a new practice field in Baltimore or something? Like,
Curse.
They just lost so many pieces. Like, and Marcus Peters, I didn't think it would show as much, but if Derek Carr's going for 400 yards, yes, I gotta attribute some of that to Marcus Peters not being there, losing 3 of your top running backs, and trying to build this chemistry again. I don't think they can't do it. But, man, it looks like an uphill battle, especially if you're not, we're usually able to rely on the Ravens to hold teams under 20, 21 points a game. And if they can't do that this year, they're in trouble.
Lamar still struggles as a passer. From what I took from last night's game is he still struggles to hit some wide open receivers. He was missing looks late in the game. He fumbled the ball 3 times. He had a crucial fumble at the end of the game that cost him the game. And honestly, I was calling last night for John Harbaugh's job because they had an opportunity. When they were down, it was tie game, only about under a minute left, and they decide to drop a little, a safe play instead of going for the first round. They drop a safe play, run the clock down to about 30-something seconds, kick the field goal to take a 3-point lead. You left 30-something seconds left on the clock now for the Raiders to come down, march down the field, and kick a field goal. Why not at least draw a play up that, is attempting to get that first down? If it doesn't work, you're still in the same spot as you were in before.
Yeah.
At least give an attempt. Now you can really drain the clock all the way down to 1 second and make sure you completely ice it. Yeah. Now you opened up a can of worms by giving them the ball back with 30 seconds. That was just dumb to me, honestly.
And to add on, D'Lo's playing with just Harbaugh. He's just so predictable. You look at the Ravens offense, what are they going to do? Run an option, run it up the middle, throw it over the middle. And then on defense, they were running cover 0 pretty much damn near the whole game.
Yeah.
So it's like what they're going to do, and they're not explosive as Lamar's MVP season because everybody kind of tuned out to his game now. They need the weapons. I think they just need to scrap it and just get a new look.
Yeah, I think, and to your John Harbaugh point, it comes to like how much do you believe in your quarterback? I think that's what I take away from that a little bit, because when you see an Andy Reid, and yes, he has Patrick Mahomes, but even if you see like a Kyle Shanahan with like a Jimmy G, or like you see these like kind of top offenses around the league, or these top offensive minds, they show you that conviction because they're gonna put the ball in their quarterback's hands and tell them go make a play. And I didn't see that. But D'Lo, what was your overreaction before we get into some week 2 matchups?
I mean, to piggyback off having trust in your quarterback, I think Jalen Hurts will lead the Eagles to the playoffs this year. I don't know whether it be the wild card or the division, but I think Jalen Hurts will lead the Eagles to the playoffs. I liked what I saw. To piggyback off L's point earlier, the dual threat quarterback is here to stay. They're starting to take over the league, and Jalen Hurts fits that description. He has a strong arm. He can get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. He's got a couple of dynamic weapons. Jalen Rager's a big down the field target now. You got Devontae Smith, who I think will be a stud receiver for years to come. I like Dallas Goedert, honestly, over there. And he's got a couple back. He's got Miles Sanders. I like what Jalen Hurts can do with this offense. And our defense, we're tough up front. We do a really good job of getting to the quarterback and stopping the run. We do have Darius Slay over there at corner, at least shut down one side of the field at the very least. I think the Eagles can make a push. I checked their schedule. Their schedule isn't the craziest thing in the world. We got to see Denver. We got to see the Patrick Mahomes in the world. But we're also going to see everybody in the division. I think that with the way the Giants look with week 1, I think we may be able to take both of them. Honestly, the way that was looking, even if it's in division, we might be able to take both of them things. Dallas would be a tough matchup. But I can think, but again, in division, I think we can split with Dallas. No, I mean, I'm not that scared of Dallas. That offense is high octane, but I think we can split with them. I think we can catch them off a bad week. And I don't know. Call me crazy. Hey, I have to join the fanboy. Y'all were fanboying last week, talking about y'all teams was Super Bowl contenders. Well, we both here now. I didn't say my team was a Super Bowl contender, but whose team is 1-0 this week? And whose teams are 0-1, people? Somebody let me know. So I gotta leave y'all with that.
Hey, if you played Russell Wilson too,
all right, I don't want to hear that because I had to watch us play Teddy Bridgewater, and he damn near looked like Russell Wilson. I mean, this guy. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I think he threw like 21 to 26 for like 250 and like 2
touchdowns, no turnover.
I got a stat for you. You know who leads the league in QBR right now?
Don't tell me with him. I hope
Teddy Bridgewater, as of right now, leads the league in QBR
with 2
and the disappointing thing
gloves
is,
on his hands.
I thought coming into this season that yes, there's the Daniel Jones question. Oh my gosh, I don't. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys right now. You know how much it hurts for me to just look around this league and see a Kyler Murray, see it now even a Jalen Hurts, a Dak Prescott, and we draft this guy with the 9th pick. Hey, like what? And our offensive line hasn't been able to block for him anyway.
He's cool with Eli Manning, bro. He's legit.
Dave Gettleman reached for that pick, and he reached for who was I forgot the offensive line you guys took, but he's looked like a bust so far. You got Dave Gettleman.
I'm gonna be calling for a job.
Kadarius Toney, I think, was low key a reach. What the hell did y'all get him for? To be honest,
he hasn't even showed up. I don't. It's so many things to get in with this team. And look, they have 2 days. They have 2 days. Saquon, I'm not going to get on him. I think you got to give. I'm going to give Saquon to at least week 4 or 5. They're not even. He only had 10 carries, and a catch, and so I'm not going to put it on Saquon.
1 year.
But this team plays this week, and when by the time you guys see this podcast, the result will be out. So get at me on social media. But I may have a lot to say because it was all bad. It was all bad, and I'm just looking forward to week 2, and I think the matchup on the docket, I know I said everything I said about the Ravens and them not making the playoffs, but if they want to prove me wrong, it's going to be Sunday Night Football, week 2. I'm super excited for that matchup. Patty Mahomes is cartoon character, I feel like. He just puts up cartoon numbers. He makes it look easy. No one ever doubts he's going to win a game. And Lamar can't beat him. So I really want to see what happens in that matchup. I'll be tuned in. I hope you guys are too. Really quickly, you guys give me your matchups that you're looking forward to next week.
I mean, I'm definitely looking into the Washington and Giants matchup on Thursday night. Just because, obviously I got my own implications with my Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I want to see who's going to come out that in the end, but who's coming out of that and being 0-2? Like, who's going to fall deep into the trenches?
Look, I'll put you guys on a little secret. I mean, you're talking to a guy who's been a fan of a team that started 0-2 last 5-6 years, so I mean, if I was a betting man to you guys, I mean, it's probably not going to be.
I'll tell you this. If you look at teams who started off 0-2 in the past, let's say 10 years, and look at their playoff probability, it's not very good for them. It's not very good. So this week 2 could bury someone right now in the NFC East, honestly. Yeah, week 2 could really bury someone. And I honestly think it will be the New York Giants. I don't see their offense getting anything against the Washington defense. I don't see they couldn't muster anything against Denver. They scored 13 points. They scored 7 points in the first half, and then that last touchdown was a bull giant little bullshit at the end of the game. Just here you go. I'm just gonna give you the touchdown just because the game was over.
You know what makes me mad?
That's how.
You know what makes it worse? I'm mad. Daniel Jones ran it in. Like, why out of all people you run it in to make you look better after that fumble? But oh man, I could talk about. Oh man, what's the matchup on the docket for you?
Well, this one doesn't really affect me as much as your matchups that affect you guys. But call me crazy. Are we gonna see our first game in the hundreds? The Chargers and Cowboys. When you talk about two people who sling that ball, just an entertaining game to sit back, grab a cup, enjoy, and just watch. Just two quarterbacks light something up. I think Herbert is going to light up that Cowboys defense, and Dak, it doesn't matter what defense he goes against. I think his numbers are always going to be crazy. I think we see a crazy shootout, but Chargers are going to win that game.
Hey, I hope so. Look, the Chargers win that game.
I'll be wearing my Justin Herbert jersey.
Washington don't win the game, let's say. We're going to go up against San Fran. We're going to handle our business. San Fran coming in as a 3.5-point favorite on some disrespectful shit. They come into the link. We about to give them the business. You saw them let up all them points against Detroit? I swear to God.
All I can tell you guys is if Dallas win, the Eagles find a way to beat the 49ers, and we lose Thursday night, I don't know what I'm going to say on this podcast. I don't even think we'll have NFL on our topics. I don't know what I'm going to say on this podcast for episode 4. With all that been said, I hope you guys appreciate our NFL takes and opinions. Hey, if you think one of our takes are weak, if you want to argue against us, hey,
at me. I'm right here.
Lowe's hot take.
I'm here for all smoke.
You could get in the comments.
You will not win the argument with my man D about sports.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
You won't. And we have so much more sports to get into. I know we've been talking about a lot of NFL, but looking around the corner, we have NBA season coming on. That's why I wore this jersey, because I couldn't put a stinking Giants jersey on to save my life today. So I put
Nets fans over here, man. Yep. Shout out to the Bulls. You know how we coming this year.
I think they ain't gonna have enough.
We out to Chicago.
Yo, Ty, we in the Barclays Center this year.
And wait,
we in that bitch.
Might I include one of you guys might be able to join one of us to one of the Barclays games? So it's a lot. It's a lot of exciting things coming down the pipe. Talking a lot of NFL. There's been a lot of excitement around the start of the season. Although for me, these Giants are really putting a damper on it. But we have some exciting things coming up on the podcast, including our very first guest. And L, I'm hearing this is one of our bros back from the Paramus Catholic, the PC days. Well, who we about to have on?
I don't know where you heard that from, Mr. Todd, but that information is correct.
It got leaked somehow.
Somebody's leaking our info, but I really can't give out the name. Just know that this person is a day one member. He was with us since day one. Grew up with us playing, falling in love with the game together. Recently launched his own store, growing tremendously by the day. You might have seen some of his viral TikToks on your favorite social media accounts, reposting him, just making a lot of noise, and also for my men and my women. I know fall season's coming up pretty much already here. If you want to go get some clothes for some dates, you're going out to eat, just want to get some nice clothes just to feel good about yourself, that's okay too. This is your guy. He will be here next week. Stay tuned for the special guest.
Yes, indeed. Stay tuned. We've been excited for the interviews. It's one of the first things we talked about from day one. I don't even know I don't even know how to, I don't have words to describe it. I'm so excited to get some of our guests, so excited to dive into some of these business topics. I know we're changing it up. We're trying to keep the episodes very focused for you all. So this is sports, this is NFL. Next is you're going to get a lot more business insights, career advice, entrepreneurship. But look, This about wraps up our episode. Everyone, remember, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Leave a thumbs up, comment. You know we appreciate all the support.
Yes, sir.
Also, feel free to leave some feedback. We always want to look how to get better. And make sure you follow all of our social media at the.juicecrew on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're coming out with some great content daily. And you can see the latest updates on the podcast. And with that said, thank you, everybody.
Hold up. Before we go, stay on alert. I can't give you a date when it's coming, but you already know I got to promote the merch.
Yes, sir.
Juice Crew shirts. They will be coming. Make sure you guys get your hands on them. They will be going fast. You know, you will be wearing them. Everybody's like, yo, where did you get that from?
You
don't want to miss out. You really don't want to.
Yep. And that's about all we have for you today. So thank you, everybody. See you guys on the next episode. Juice Crew out.
Peace out, y'all.